Hi everybody, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be doing my November and my December wrap-up, and the reason that I decided to combine these was because November was a really bad month for me as far as reading goes, and I only managed to get through 3 books. So instead of making a really short kind of lame video for just November, I decided to combine it, and total throughout November and December I ended up reading 8 books, which I'm really proud about, and I ended up enjoying most of them too, which is always good. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting over a cold, so if I sound a bit weird, that's why. But I wanted to go ahead and film this while I'm feeling okay, and it's just going to be a nice casual talk about all the books that I read. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first book that I read in November was Black Cats and Evil Eyes, a book of old-fashioned superstitions by Chloe Rhodes, and I actually really ended up liking this one. This book is basically a coffee table kind of book, all about different superstitions and their origins, and for someone who's really interested in that, I enjoyed reading the book quite a lot. I liked learning where the different superstitions that I kind of just mindlessly follow come from, and it was just an interesting little quick read. However, I ended up only giving this book 3 out of 5 stars because, one, I felt like towards the end of the book it got really repetitive because a lot of the superstitions are coming from the same place, so it felt like a lot of repeated information, which tended to make the end of the book drag on. And then second, I feel like personally this is one of those books that once I've read through it and kind of absorbed the knowledge, there's not a lot of rereadability here, so even though I did enjoy it and gave it a relatively decent rating, I don't think I would read it again. However, if you are someone that's interested in this kind of thing, or you know someone that is, this would make a great gift and it is good for a good read through. Next in November I read Our Brothers at the Bottom of the Sea by Jonathan David Krantz, which has like the strangest title ever, and I went into this book thinking it was going to be like a murder mystery thriller. It's about these 2 people named Ethan and Rachel who have both had siblings die in accidents at this amusement park, but both of them feel these accidents weren't actually accidents, and so they kind of team up together to investigate the dark underside of this amusement park. I was really pumped to read a murder mystery set in like a theme park, but this ended up falling flat across the board. I read it really fast, but by the time I got to the end, I didn't remember anything about it. It was that boring and bland. I give it 2 out of 5 stars because nothing about it was memorable. It didn't stick in my brain, and that to me is kind of a waste of time, so I was really disappointed in this one. The last book that I read in November is Nothing Bad Is Going to Happen by Kathleen Hale, and this is the second book in the Nobody Else Can Have You duology, I think. Now, before I talk about my rating for this book, I do want to just put out a public service announcement. And I hate that I have to do this, but I did not know about all the controversy surrounding the author when I purchased these books. I bought them secondhand, and I do not support the author's actions in any way by reading these 2 books. I didn't give her any money by purchasing them. If you aren't familiar, Kathleen Hale admitted to stalking a reviewer on Goodreads, like physically stalking her, because she gave her book a 1 star, and that is really messed up, and I do not support the author's actions. However, I already read these books and I can't take back my feelings about them. However, going forward, or if you are uncomfortable reading her books because of that, then keep that in mind. But I'm going to try and separate the creation from the creator here and objectively say that I enjoyed this book, and I actually genuinely enjoyed the first book. These are both murder mysteries set in the small town of Friendship, Wisconsin. They center around a girl named Kippy Bushman, who's a little bit of an eccentric person, and what I liked about them is they took the murder mystery concept and added a lot of humor to it. I genuinely laughed out loud a lot of the time when I was reading these 2 books, and I gave both this one and the first one 4 out of 5 stars. I thought they were generally very funny reads, and while there is a lot of stereotype playing, the Wisconsin stereotype going on here, and I don't like that, I did genuinely enjoy reading these books, and I would probably reread them again. But by saying that, I do not support the author's actions, so take that as you will. Now for the books that I read in December. Okay, so the first book that I read in December, I'm super proud of myself, and it is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series, and yes, I am like 10 years late to the Mortal Instruments party. But that is because when I first read City of Bones, I did not really like it. It took me 2 tries to get through that book, and something in the story didn't click with me. I don't know what it is because I genuinely liked everything in the book. It was just there was something about it I didn't like. So I was hesitant to even continue with the series. However, I'm really glad I did because I liked this book so much more than its predecessor. I don't know if that's because a lot of the initial world building was already done and so I could just jump right into the action, or maybe I like the characters better or the turn of events. I don't know. But I did really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I found this one to be a lot more fun. I liked the character development. The setting was awesome. We met the Seelie Queen, who was such a cool character. I really hope she's in the rest of the series because she was totally awesome. And yeah, if you're like me and you were hesitant about continuing with the series because City of Bones didn't really click with you, I would say at least try getting to City of Ashes because I really did enjoy this a lot more than the first book, and I had a great time reading it. Next, I knocked off another book that's been on my TBR list forever, and it is People of the Wolf by W. Michael Geer and Kathleen O'Neill Geer. If you aren't familiar, the Geers are a husband and wife writing duo, and they're also well-established archaeologists. They pretty much focus their book writing on North America's prehistory and the native tribes that lived during that time period, and this particular novel is the first in their largest series, the North America's Forgotten Past series. So, this book in particular focuses on the Clovis people at the end of the Ice Age, and I really liked it. I already knew going into this book that I liked the Geers writing because I've read another trilogy by them, and this one also delivered. I enjoyed it a lot. I think what the Geers excel in is character dynamics, character building. They are so good at creating these huge cast of characters, but you come to love each one, and there is so much drama that goes on in this book. Like, there's sibling rivalries, daddy issues, romance drama, coming of age, like anything you could want. This book has it, and the Geers write with an accuracy that only someone working in the field would know. They use accurate terms. They're able to blend more esoteric and abstract ideas like shamanism into the book seamlessly where it fits in and it doesn't feel silly, and I just really enjoyed my time with this book. However, I had one big huge pet peeve which knocked this book down from what would have been a 4-star rating to a 3-star rating, and that is the fact that this book is like 430 pages long, and I feel like it could have been 100 pages less if they had just cut out all of the needless wandering around in, sitting in, standing in, sleeping in, dying in, freezing to death in snow. Like, there must have been 100 pages of just characters doing nothing in the snow. And while I get that this takes place in the Ice Age, I feel like I got the point after 20 or 30 pages, and I didn't need another 70. Now, some people may like a really long, drawn-out, slow-paced plot, and I can at least appreciate it, but this was too much. And so I'm looking forward to the second entry in the series. I am going to continue because I feel like it will be better, but this bothered me for that reason, and I wish I could have given it a higher star rating than just 3 because the writing and the characters are phenomenal, but that needlessly slow-paced aspect to the story was just not for me. Then I picked up The Wolfwilder by Katherine Rundell, and this was just like the most wintry book, and it was calling out to me on my shelf, so I wanted to read it. And this book centers around a girl named Feodora who's, along with her mother, a wolfwilder, and these are people who take the wolf pets of Russian aristocrats and rewild them after the noble family doesn't want them anymore. I thought the concept behind this book was so interesting and the story was so beautiful. However, the entire time I read this, I was bored to death because the author just wrote so plainly the most simplistic sentences you could imagine, and the story just wasn't executed well. There was so much potential in the idea, and it's like the author didn't know how to create and carry out her own idea. And that was like the strangest thing, and I just was so bored. Like, I've never enjoyed an idea of a story but also been so bored by it at the same time. Now, this is a middle grade novel, so you could argue that the writing is aimed at a younger age bracket than me, but I have read other young adult and middle grade novels that have been completely astounding, so I'm not going to let it off the hook for having bad writing. And I'm so disappointed because it has a gorgeous cover and a gorgeous idea and a gorgeous synopsis. It just didn't follow through on that, so I only ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. To follow that up though, an amazing middle grade novel that I finally got around to reading is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and it is the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I loved every minute of this book. This was phenomenal. It had everything in it that I could want from a book, and you know, even though it's aimed at a younger age audience, I was laughing out loud. I loved all the mythology. I'm a huge mythology nut. This is something that I actively read about and study about on my own just for fun, so to see so much of it crammed in here, so many gods and monsters and myths, was so much fun. And I loved all of the characters, the storyline was great, I already need this next volume. It was just a complete blast to read, and I read through it so fast. So if you haven't picked this up yet, don't wait as long as I did. Littler Lauren would have loved this book series, and I'm so angry at myself for waiting so long to get it and read it because I had such fun with it, and this is just one of those books that I feel like anybody could find something to enjoy about it. I mean, it is middle grade, so it's a little bit more simplistic, but oh my gosh, it was such a fun reading experience, and so I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. The last book I want to talk about was also a 5 out of 5 star read, and it is Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and literally this book was so magical. I don't even really know how to describe it because Stephanie Garber's writing style is what literally stole this book for me. It was the most visual writing style. Like, if I could hop into any book world, this would totally be one of them because she has crafted this world that is so magical and intricate and full of all of these wonderful, amazing things that I just wish I could see and feel and hold and experience. Like, that is such a unique and timeless quality to writing. And the story was awesome too. I mean, it's about an enchanted carnival that only happens once a year and never in the same place twice. And the audience gets a chance to compete in the circus and get a wish granted to them, and these 2 sisters get a chance to go after they've wanted to go their whole lives. This book was awesome. Like, I can't say enough good things. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I need the sequel yesterday. I had such a good time, but I mean, the reason I love this book so much was because of Stephanie Garber's writing. So this book was definitely one of my favorites I read in 2017. It was a great way to exit this year because I loved it so much. And yeah, that is all of my books that I read in 2017, November and December, and I think that I ended on a pretty high note. I enjoyed pretty much everything I read. So let me know down below what you read in the last couple months of the year because I would love to know. I'm always looking for new recommendations. And if you haven't already and you'd like to, please subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date with all of my videos and talk about books with me because that's what we're here to do. I will see you guys all in my next video. I love you and I hope you're all having a great day. Bye.